And welcome back to Love Your Food. This week we have a super simple and delicious summer slaw for you, and this time we're adding a couple of interesting elements to it, including some crispy seaweed, but we'll get to that in a second. First, I'd like to remind everyone of our Patreon. If you'd like to help support us there, I'll put a link for that in the description below, as well as to Chef's Temp. If you need a kitchen thermometer, you can get a discount using our code LOVEYOURFOOD on checkout. In the meantime, here are our ingredients. We've got some cabbage, some vinegar, 2 different kinds of oil, some miso paste, some pickled spicy carrot, some cilantro, some seaweed, some sesame seeds, and some crispy shallots. Now those you can get at most shops. You can just get those little sort of jars of crispy shallots or onions. They're really, really delicious. First thing we're going to do is toast our sesame seeds. So they're going to go into the toaster oven while we are getting our cilantro ready. And we can just chop this roughly. That doesn't need to be super fine. We want a little bit of texture. We want that green in there. So we're just going to chop that pretty roughly. It's not going to be super, super small. And then we're going to chop our cabbage, which we do want to be pretty fine. We want it to be a really small slice. We want it to be a kind of a fine, almost chiffonade of our cabbage. Now we're using an Asian flat cabbage for this. You can use whatever kind of cabbage you have on hand. Napa cabbage works nicely for this as well. It's a little bit more tender. We really like these flat cabbages. They're really delicious. So we're going to put that in the bowl with the cilantro. Now our miso is quite dry, so we're going to add the vinegar. We're just using plain white vinegar here. You can use whatever vinegar you'd like. Apple cider vinegar is fine. We find that a more acidic, tart vinegar like the just plain acetic acid is a good sharp contrast for this dish. So we're just going to dissolve the miso in that, and then we're going to slice up we have 1 slice of carrot here that we cut first through the middle, and then we're just going to cut it into a little slaw. That's fine. Now these are quite spicy. We pickled these with jalapenos, so they are you don't need much, just a little splash of color. We're going to add a little bit of white pepper to the vinegar and miso mixture, and just mix that together. A little bit of salt as well. You always want to add a little bit of salt for anything that has a bunch of veggies in it, just for a little bit of seasoning. And we're going to add that to mix it well together. And then we have 2 oils here. We just have a regular salad oil, whatever you usually use for salad, and a little bit of sesame oil as well, just to give it that sort of toasty sesame flavor to it. Of course, we're also going to add toasted sesame seeds a little bit later, so there's going to be that in there as well. Now for the crispy onions or crispy shallots, you can add those at the end if you want them to stay crispy. We kind of like how they sort of dissolve into the salad once it's set for a little while. So we're going to add them now when we add in our dressing. And then in goes the dressing. And then we're just going to mix that together. We're just going to, get everything well blended. You do want this slaw to sit for a little while before you serve it. So we're going to, mix it really nicely here. Make sure everything's well combined. You've got all your nice elements in there. And then once it's well blended, by now your sesame seeds, hopefully, are ready to go. Ours were looking really nice and toasty, so we're just going to add those in. And if they're still hot, you'll get that nice little sizzle to them. And then we're going to add those into our salad and, just give it one last little stir before we put that into a container and into the fridge for just a couple of hours. It doesn't have to sit for days or overnight or anything. You just want everything to kind of marry and come together. So you just need an hour or 2, and this will be really, really delicious. So here we go. We've had it sitting for a little while, and it is ready to go. So we're just going to put that on a plate. And it's super, super delicious. Really nice, bright flavors. Really, really good for you, of course. I mean, you've got all that cabbage in there and the pickled carrots, and it's delicious. And then on top of that, we've got these beautiful little crispy seaweed bits that are frequently used in soups, and they sort of steep in the soup and unfold and become little pieces of wakame seaweed. But they're delicious when they're crispy and dry like this, and we just add them on top as a garnish. They have a nice little crunch. They give you that seaweed flavor and aroma. Really, really amazing little addition, and we hope you'll give this one a try. If you like this recipe, please do like and subscribe, and if you have any recipes you'd like to see Chef Caleb try on the channel, please let us know in the comments below. We've got a Patreon. We'd like to thank all of our patrons on Patreon for supporting us, and if you'd like to support us there as well, please check out the link in the description below. And remember to love your food.